Hey, Mr. Seuss's class, it's Dr. Gailey again. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about why things sink or why they float. You can tell something sinks or floats depending on its density. If something's more dense than the fluid around it, it will sink, and if it's less dense, it will float. So what do we mean by density? What does that term mean? You find out the density of something by a very simple mathematical equation. Density is equal to something's mass divided by something's volume. So something's mass, how much it weighs, and volume is how much space it takes up. And so if something takes up a very small amount of space for the same mass, then it has a higher amount of density. And so there's a little demonstration that you guys can do at home to practice this and show it in action. What I'm going to do is, and you can do this again, you can do this at home, is take two pieces of aluminum foil that are the same size. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take those sheets of aluminum foil and just fold them up into a ball. Okay, so we got our two balls of aluminum foil. We're going to weigh them right now. Put them on our scale. Okay, so I got my trusty mass scale here. I'm going to put my first ball on. We're going to see it weighs about 3 or 4 grams. Take my second ball on. Weighs 4 grams, so about the same amount. Not that much different. So again, you guys probably don't have a scale at home, but you can just make sure you keep them about the same size and they'll have about the same mass. So that's what we're measuring. We measure the weight of something. We're measuring its mass. Well, weight is mass times gravity, but you get it. So we have these two balls that have about the same mass, and we're going to see what happens when we put them into a beaker of fluid of water. And you can see that the ball floats, doesn't sink. So now we're going to take our other ball, and we're going to change its density. What we're going to do is we're going to squish it, make it as small as we can. And what are we doing when we're squishing it? We're reducing the amount of space it takes up. So what we're doing is we're making the volume smaller. And since volume is in the denominator, when you make it smaller, what are you doing to the density? You're increasing it, right? So make this really dense. I'm going to use some pliers. Just going to squeeze this ball as much as I can so that it takes up as little space as possible. I'm increasing its density as much as I can. Some elbow grease into it here. Okay, so now we have our aluminum foil ball. It's been compressed to be really small. Drop it in. It's still floating, which means I need to make it a little bit smaller. Let's take this and really squish it up. All right, that looks a lot smaller. Let's check it out now. All right, so now we're trying this again. There we go. All right. So you can see, close-up action here. You can see it sinks. So whether something sinks or floats, doesn't matter how much mass it has, right? These guys have the same mass. If I weigh them again, oh, they got some water in them now. Actually, let's weigh them again just to make sure. Try to shake out the water as best I can. Okay, so I'm going to weigh that first ball. Oh wow, that absorbed a lot of water. Check that out. So now it's up to about 22.8 grams. Now we'll take a look at this guy. See how much he weighs. 5. Okay, so check that out. Oh, that's actually really interesting. So this weighs a lot less because there's not as much water in it, but it still sank, right? So this even kind of goes to prove our point even more. This thing's a lot heavier, it has a lot more mass to it than this guy, but it floats while this guy sinks. And the reason is all about the volume. So this guy is going to float because it has a lot more volume, takes up a lot more volume, and if it has a lot more volume, it has a lot less density. And this guy is going to sink because even though it has less mass, it has a lot less volume. And so it's a lot denser. So you guys can try that again at home. You can use other materials, I guess, that you can scrunch up, and you can try it out for yourselves. But that's really the name of the game, is density. All right, thank you, and I'll talk to you guys soon.